Guys, so welcome back. Thank you for hanging out, spending a few moments here with me. If you're new, definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. Now, I've made a handful of videos going over this Widebody kit. I did a cost breakdown, which you guys should definitely check out. It consisted of how much the actual body kit itself cost, wheels, tires, and then obviously the paint and installation and how much it all worked out to be. You know, do I recommend going down this route? A lot of people, you know, are thinking, should they trade in their, you know, their Scatpack or their Hellcat for a 2021 Widebody? This thing has been on for close to 6 months, and there's, you know, a couple of things that I've learned. It wasn't always smooth, as you guys know. About 3 months ago, I reported that this fender flare ripped off, and that's because I hit a huge pothole when I had the 275 40/20 tires, which has a much thicker sidewall, and it was actually, you know, it was like that far away from the actual fender flare, which prompted me to put the 315 35/20s on. Now, since I've put these tires on, there's been a lot less rubbing. You guys could probably see on the actual tire, there's really nothing there. That being said, what I did notice is that the bracket that keeps the actual fender flare on has ripped off on both sides. So that's not a make or break thing, because this thing is glued on, and I also too put a little bit of extra support right there. So what I have noticed is that since the bracket has fallen off, there really hasn't been any kind of rubbing, no issues, no pothole issues, nothing. It's actually worked out great. So something to keep in mind is that you're going to have to upgrade your wheels when you do this wide body, and then also too, the tire selection is extremely important. So that's number one. Now, when you're looking at this front body kit, you'll notice that the gaps here aren't perfect anymore. It wasn't like that when I first got the Charger. The reason why that's like that is because we put a huge intercooler in the front, and I believe that because of the size of the intercooler, it's kind of kicking the bottom of the front fascia here out a little bit, so it's creating this kind of a small gap. So those are really the two things that I would say. Now, obviously, it's not a real wide body. I know a lot of people get weird about that. I did this because it looks friggin' phenomenal. I get looks all over the place. Having the twin turbos with this look, it's absolutely amazing. Looks a little bit different, and I'll tell you, the stance is why I did it, guys. You know, it just looks so menacing, especially when you see it from behind. Everything's really holding up nicely, you know, and this is 6 months later. Okay, other than that front issue that I ran into, and if you cut the fenders, you won't run into that issue that I had. A lot of people are choosing to just dive into the fender a little bit to give this a little extra clearance. Now, obviously, because I did it this way, I'm never going to be able to lower my car. So if you do like the idea of lowering springs or some kind of a lowering option, you're going to want to, you know, dive into that fender. Now, the backs, I've never had any issue whatsoever. It's because I have stock springs on there, stock suspension, and there's just so much. There's a lot of room there, so I never had any issues. There's no tire marks, there's no rub marks or anything like that. So definitely no issues back there. This was the only problem. And I'll tell you, for the last I don't know, 3+ months, I just have nothing to complain about. I really don't. So if you are looking into this, just know that it is an expensive little option. It's going to set you back in your bank account, but it's certainly a lot cheaper than trading in if you already own an RT, a Scatpack, or a Hellcat. This is a really cool option. You basically, you know, have a newer look. Without having to go through the headache of dealing with salespeople. They stink. They're always trying to rip you off. And, you know, I love owning this outright. No car payments for me. So, all right, guys. Hopefully that answered a handful of your questions. one question that I get is how come I chose not to black that out? You know what, on the day that I did it, I was actually requesting that we do that, we black that out. But the company that did it was like, yo, let's just try this, see how it looks. And when they did it, I was like, you know what, that looks really good. It looks different, you know, than what most people have. So all right guys, if you haven't already, definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, do all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, the next move for this thing is dual intake pump. That will get rid of the check engine light, and then after that we're gonna look into some transmission solutions. And then you know, I got a couple other things that I'm looking to do to this thing. But guys, if you are looking into this, you know, those are just some things to keep in mind. You're gonna love it. I'll tell you, the amount of looks that you get driving around, it's just so cool. It's a huge upgrade over what I had prior, and you know, I couldn't be happier with this purchase. So all right guys, I'll check you on the next one.